You are now listening to the Be Your Own #Love Goals podcast with Moe Ari
and Tiffany.
We just want you to remember that every person, regardless of identity, wants these three things: belonging, authenticity, and love.
And after a decade of partnership, we've learned to co-create these things and so much more.
So from wherever you're listening, we're going to go on a journey of becoming our own #Love Goals. Now let's get into this episode. Hey, it's Moe Ari
and Tiffany.
And you are now listening to the Be Your Own Love Goals podcast. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Feels like we're going on a date with our audience today.
Oh, I love that.
Because we are talking about how to get to a second date.
Yeah.
I think it's about time we talk about that. I know I hear so many stories all of the time about things that you just wish didn't happen. And it makes me think that, so many of us don't have any kind of prescription, model, whatever, for what a good date is.
Yeah.
So we don't know how to show up and cultivate that.
Yeah.
And then so many times I don't think we realize that dating is a co-created space. So we have half of the responsibility for making it a good experience. And it's not true that just because you're incompatible that you have to have a bad experience.
Yeah.
People get together all the time who are different from one another. I think what's making these bad experiences has to do with somewhat with a level of care and intention on one person's part, both people's part, all the people involved's part. For anybody that's not familiar, I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. I also am the love and connection expert at Hinge. So I spent a lot of time thinking about, talking about relationships, thinking about dating, thinking about how to be intentional around dating. And I figure we should talk about dating. Those early dates, like how to get from one date to the next.
Particularly that second one.
Yeah.
It's like after you have made that first impression, how do we connect again? And I think that's very significant because for a lot of us, we have our representative present during the first date, or, we are fully authentic, right? And it's like a real test. Like it's that waiting period of like, okay, are we going to have another day? Like, how did that go? That interim is very difficult. So really talking through, how do we get there? How do we just keep moving forward from that first moment?
It's so important.
Yeah.
There are so many aspects of that date that let's just jump in. I'm like, oh my God. I'm thinking about our first dating experiences. And I know that we were extremely intentional in the beginning about that. So I know how I got from date one to the next.
Oh, absolutely.
In all of my experiences. But as we talk about dating for people who might be on the scene right now, we should talk about what goes into the preparation for a date. This might vary across gender, sexual orientations, culture, how you present, culture. Yes. So I never walk away from a Be Your Own Love Goals episode thinking we want you to do anything but be your own love goals. See these as guideposts for navigating the dating landscape in a way that's authentic to you.
Yeah.
We are not the end all be all on what that looks like or should look like. However, I think it's important to say there are some things that are probably just not going to go over well. But let's talk about the preparation for a date. Like what goes into that?
Well, first, I think that it is important to have a plan.
Yeah.
It's important to know when we're going to meet up, where we're going to meet up, how that's happening. Like
now, let's say, how soon do you want to know that information? Some people would leave it to the day of to decide that, but that could really
I mean,
impact.
me personally, I would want to know in advance of the day of.
Yeah.
Because depending on where you're going, what venue that is, that may determine what you wear.
Yeah.
That might determine whether you need to go get something. That might determine how your hair might need to be. Like, so
Yeah.
many different factors. It doesn't have to be like 2 weeks in advance, but definitely in advance of the day of for me.
Mhm.
So having a plan for me, I want to feel my best.
Yeah.
And there are certain things that allow me to feel my best. That's hygiene related, making sure that I am fresh and clean, and if I need to get my hair done, if there are other particular things that enhance how I show up on the outside, I think
Yeah.
are really important for me.
Now you got a lot of people listening,
Mhm.
that might say, "That's a lot of energy to put into a date that you don't know is gonna go well or not," right?
Mhm.
What do you say to that? The hygiene piece, the preparation, the planning.
It's like I'm going on a date, but because this is a co-created experience, a lot of this is for me. So it's
Mhm.
how, like, I am also dating for me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going on this date with another person, so I want to be at, this dinner or wherever we are feeling like,
You
"You look
got it.
good, girl. You got it." Right?
Yeah.
And if I don't feel like that, it's very likely that I will not lean into the date in the ways that I would want
Thank you for
to.
saying that out loud because I think it does require a lot of effort,
Mhm.
especially for people who might be dating a lot of different
Yeah,
people.
it does.
It does require a lot of effort to lean into that
Mhm.
date in a way that feels good or where
Mhm.
they're very present, but it requires a lot of preparation.
Mhm.
So yeah, I
Mhm.
thank you for saying that.
Mhm.
I think authenticity is another aspect of this.
Yeah.
Uh, and that doesn't mean authentically bad hygiene. Like, I'm not saying that. Like, literally, that should be a baseline.
Mhm. Come on now, brush your teeth before
Yeah,
bed.
absolutely. And take mints with you.
Yes.
And, all of the things when you're
Mhm.
being close to a person.
Mhm.
When I say authenticity, I mean, I think it goes to what Tiffany was saying. Like, as a part of preparation, even your authenticity begins because you want to wear something that makes you feel confident. That way you show up confidently,
Mhm.
especially for anybody experiencing any kind of gender dysphoria or if you just are a person that cares about what you're wearing, spend the
Mhm.
time and think about that, putting your best foot
Mhm.
forward, something you feel confident in. That way your authenticity really shows up and you have one less barrier to being
Yeah.
your genuine self when you're on the date.
Mhm.
Now, being your genuine self on the date can also mean just being very present, getting out of your head, not focusing so much on what to say and just being there.
Mhm. Mhm.
Some of the things that you can do to help your authenticity just shine is to come up with a list of questions you want to ask while you're there
That's
so that you're
good.
not thinking in the moment, you're
Yeah.
just being present in the
Mhm.
moment.
Mhm.
So if you're a person who would think too much in the moment about what to say next, just have a list of questions to draw from
Mhm.
so that you can really lean into the connection and
Yeah.
listen deeply to the answers.
Yeah.
And then hopefully your date asks you questions. If they don't
Yes.
ask you questions naturally, you can say, "What questions do you have for me?"
Mhm. Mhm.
And that's okay too.
Yeah. I think that's a really helpful tool. I would say that another thing would be positive mindset and confidence.
Mhm.
If before your date you need to play Bad Girl by Usher to get you
Yeah.
hyped up,
Yeah.
do that.
Or Pretty Boy Swag by
Or Pretty
Soulja
Boy
Boy.
Sweat, like whatever you need to do, positive self-talk,
Yeah.
looking in the mirror and telling yourself, girl, you a baddie,
You
you a
got it,
10.
girl. You got it. Whatever you
Do
need to.
that.
Yes.
Call your friend for a little hype up session, like whatever.
Get dressed and be like, rip me out the plastic. I've been acting
Come
brand new.
on. Like, I think that positivity really seeps into the date. That confidence, it will be felt. Like you will wear that like another piece of clothing. And I think that it's if your intention is to have a good time, no matter what happens on that date, no matter if something is disappointing or not, you are putting in that positivity and you're gonna
Yeah.
reap that in
Yeah.
some way.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
I love the confidence
Yeah.
conversation because I'm thinking about just getting hype before a date
Mhm.
and really allowing yourself to feel yourself. You
Mhm.
are you are presenting your best self,
Mhm.
and you are also giving yourself self-love in the process when you like really love on yourself and you
Mhm.
hype yourself up.
Mhm.
And then when you get to the date, you are when you are confident, you're able to give compliments more
Yeah.
comfortably. You're able to really show up in a way
Yeah.
where you're not only charming, but you're probably also disarming.
Mhm.
You're like uncomfortable and
Mhm.
you're feeling uptight. I'm sure you're coming across as such and it can make it uncomfortable for the other person.
Yeah. And I feel like that level of confidence and positivity can really um create a flow to relationship. I mean to
Yeah.
conversation. So
Yeah.
if I'm feeling good and confident and like you said, I prepared, I know what questions,
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask, it can really help the conversation to keep moving. It's nothing more awkward to me than having these long pauses of silence that aren't
Yeah.
intentional, right? Like
Right.
these ones that are just, we're twiddling our
We don't know
thumbs.
what to
We
say.
don't know what to say.
Yeah.
And for a lot of people, it could be nerves. It could be, like you're saying, you don't know what question to ask. And so, really using all the things, doing all the things so that you have the confidence, you have some idea of what questions you want to ask so that the conversations just have a
Yeah.
natural flow.
Yeah. And even if you don't like the responses that you're getting, I mean, you have
Mhm.
a lot of choices, right? Like
Mhm.
you could end the day early,
Yeah.
but try as best as possible to see that date as a preparation space. Even if you're like, unless there's something problematic happening, but if you're not liking the responses to the questions, essentially, I know some people will shut down. Like they might stop asking questions. That's why you're looking around, twiddling your thumbs because you're like, well, it's nothing else really to say. I'm just gonna get this free food and
Mhm.
don't don't do that.
Oof. Yeah.
You're already on this date with a
Mhm.
person and you could use this space at least to like just get to know a new person, their interests, whatever. You don't have to agree with them, but treat them as though you want to be treated.
Mhm.
um I believe in a little bit of karma. I'm a little
Mhm.
superstitious. I don't
Mhm.
like to approach dates or any kind of conversation with another person being closed off because I don't
Yeah.
like what they have to say. That's
Yeah.
judgmental. And so you're going to be met with that energy. And what you're looking for is a person that's open,
Mhm.
right? So we
Mhm.
want to show up to dates openly, even if we know this is not a match and we're confident in that. We can still treat that person with respect. We can stay open to the conversation. We can have a good time. I think that that's what ends up creating bad experiences
Mhm.
because at some point, that's not the only reason, but one of the reasons is that at some point sometimes people shut down because they're like,
Yeah.
I don't see this going anywhere.
Mhm.
And instead of ending the date or instead of just continuing to stay engaged, they like disengage and it's uncomfortable for
Mhm.
everybody.
Mhm.
These experiences don't have to be bad.
They really don't.
I think a sense of humor and playfulness can really
Yes.
contribute to us having good
Yes.
conversations too.
Mhm.
I like to give compliments. I like to tell jokes.
It
That's my
really
personality.
Mhm.
Sometimes your jokes might not land, and
Well,
that's feedback.
that's feedback.
People love to laugh.
Mhm.
So they don't get your sense of humor. It might not be compatible, or you might need to
Exactly.
explain that you were trying to make a joke.
Mhm.
Everybody doesn't have the same vocabulary, so it doesn't land the
Yeah.
same way. I don't always get sarcasm. So
Yeah.
when people use sarcasm with me, I'm like, hey, I think I'm supposed to laugh because you're smiling.
But I'm not sure.
I
Yeah.
don't really get sarcasm.
Mhm. Yeah, the sense of humor and the playfulness can definitely just keep things light. Now, I do feel like there's a balance between it being just all goofy, playful
Right.
without the level of substance necessary to get to know a person. And I feel like it can be on the other end of being super uptight. For me, in my house, I love to laugh. So if I have not laughed a single moment in an interaction with you, it's a bit concerning.
Because you laugh at anything.
I don't laugh at anything.
It's a low bar to make Tiffany
laugh.
laugh.
It is not a low bar. First of all, you're hilarious. You're not funnier than me, but you are very funny.
And now that's funny.
Laughable. I do laugh a lot, and it's easy to make me laugh. So if I'm not laughing with a person, it's something wrong.
Yeah, it's terribly. So you want to cultivate a little humor and playfulness. And when I say that, I think I suggest starting with jokes that are not offensive to anybody, any group of people. God, yes. You do not want to go into a date and tell a joke that's like racist, sexist, classist, any kind of ist. It's problematic. Just you never just want to do it.
Just don't.
And then you don't want to tell jokes on the partner or the person you're going on a date with. Keep the jokes central to yourself. The best comedy is from personal experience within yourself, the things you learn about yourself. Make your jokes. They don't have to be self-deprecating. That's not funny. Make the joke like about your own experience. And I think that you'll be treading lightly there. It'll go over well. Do not joke on your date.
Do people do that?
I think so. I won't say it's a few years ago, within the last decade, there's this book that was going around that was called like The Pickup Artist or something like that. And I remember a lot of guys like reading the book, and it talked about how you should like kind of like poke at something about your date in order to get their attention, because people want the person that doesn't really want them. It's like playing these games, right? I remember going on a date as a femme presenting person with a guy, and he was like, I think he said something like, "You look better than in your pictures." And I was like, I said something very, very smart because I don't have time for that. Yeah. I'm a very confident person. So I was like, I just made him explain what he was trying to say. And I was like, I read that book. I basically called him. I was like, I think I read the book that you read. And it's very interesting that you approach this from that. You might want to start again because that's not an actual compliment. And he gave me a real compliment after that. And he did. We talked about the book and whatnot. So that was
Did y'all have a second date?
No.
Oh, of course.
There's no chemistry. That's called not showing up genuinely, right? Like if you have to have a gimmick or you do something like that to pick up a person, it's not going to go over well. Nobody wants to be offended. That does not bring about connection.
No, it doesn't.
And it's just no manipulative tactics. And this gets us into talking about boundaries. We want to be respectful of the other person's boundaries for the relationship. Some people might say, you cannot come to my house until after a certain number of dates. I don't want to kiss on the first date. Don't pressure them. That will not get you a second date if they feel uncomfortable in your presence because you don't respect boundaries. They might not want to sit inside of the booth with you at a restaurant on the same side of the booth. I mean, you might have to ask them if that's okay. And if it's not okay, then go over to where you're supposed to be.
Yes. And I feel like everyone is within their right to have these boundaries. Now you can choose whether you like them or not, and then go according from there. But if a person says, I'm gonna meet you at the restaurant, don't pick me up. Yeah. That's the boundary.
Yeah. They might not want to share a place with you right away. Like all kinds of stuff that are like more intimate, and don't be offended. Everybody has their own boundaries. And I think in those early days, we're really assessing a person's ability to respect our boundaries. Because in those beginning stages, boundaries translate to respect.
Absolutely. Definitely respect other people's boundaries. And with respecting people's boundaries, listen to people. Yeah. And show them that you listening. Actively listen. If a person is talking and they're sharing something with you, you probably shouldn't blank stare back. You should probably nod your head. Oh, I see. I understand. Yeah. Okay. I mean, you might not just want to reach out and touch if y'all haven't had a conversation about boundaries and consent, but definitely show that you're actively listening to what they're saying. And for bonus points, you can even reflect back what they're saying.
Yeah, that gets to body language and
Mhm.
nonverbal cues too, like what
Mhm.
you're saying.
Mhm.
It makes me think about putting your phone down.
Mhm.
In order to have eye contact, you cannot be on your phone. I would just
Yeah.
say put that at the top of the list. We are
Yeah.
not going to be on our phone on dates. Unless it's an emergency, we are not picking up our phone. If you're doing that, majority of the time it's going to be read as disinterest.
Mhm.
Actually, as a part of Hinge's distraction-free dating guide that I got to
Mhm.
be a part of,
Mhm.
there were many stats that were released about things that impact dating with regard to distractions
Mhm.
during the dating
Mhm.
process. And one of the statistics is that a majority of Hinge daters believe that someone is not interested in them if they were on their phone throughout the day.
Mm.
So it's sending the message that you are not interested if you're on your phone. That's for
Mhm.
people that are dating right now.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. I mean, it can definitely come across as such. And especially if, even in the event that there's an emergency, if you just pick up your phone and start responding and don't communicate with your date about what's happening,
Yeah.
it can come like it still can come across as such. So it's really important if you do have an emergent situation and someone's trying to reach you, hey, I'm gonna step away for a moment. I need to have this conversation, or can I please respond to my sitter or whoever
Yeah.
is the person that you're communicating with. It
Yeah.
just shows the level of respect to say,
Yeah.
I know I'm on my phone. It probably might appear I'm distracted, but this is
Yeah.
what's happening.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. And then expressing appreciation on the day is so
Mhm.
important. I
Mhm.
think even being courteous to like waiters and
Yes.
people that are serving you during that whole experience, even if you're
Mhm.
not at a dinner space,
Mhm.
but expressing appreciation directly to your date, even that, I just had a really great time with you.
Mhm.
Saying something as simple as that before you leave. Don't just wait and send that text message, although that's nice too.
Yeah.
Try to say that before you leave. I
Mhm.
really enjoyed seeing you and I would like to see you
Yes.
again.
Yes, that goes a long way. It does, and to your other point of treating the waitress, or if there's any other service providers or anyone for that matter, with appreciation and respect, shows how you also treat other people.
Yeah.
So it's information.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I think lastly, it's really important to follow up with
Mhm.
planning the second date.
You could do that when you're in person together.
Yep.
I prefer that. I prefer to say, "Hey, I'd love to see you again. When's the next time I get to see you?"
When you get that appreciation, just slide that in there.
Yeah, when's or and even if you're not saying, "I'd love to see you again," and you just flat out say, "When do I get to see you again?" You're
Mm,
showing
I like
interest. Yeah.
that.
See, it's working. When do I get to see you again?
Tonight.
See? Quick, like that.
Mhm.
Uh, boundaries.
Mhm.
So, but planning that second day is really important. Taking the
Mhm.
initiative and suggesting that can go a long way. Don't wait for the other person to say it.
Mhm.
Uh, Taking that initiative can really be beneficial.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're waiting on each other when we could have been on multiple dates, right? Like we
Mhm.
don't need to do that. You also get to be clear about where you stand when you just initiate these kinds of conversations.
Mhm.
So I want to leave you all with. Was there something you wanted to
No, I
say?
was about to ask you, Hinge, Love and Connection experts, licensed marriage and family therapist, the Moe Ari.
Oh my gosh.
What are the hashtag love resources for people when trying to get a second date or moving into the second date? What can they do? What are some tools that they can use?
Thank you,
Mhm.
Tiffany, for all of that introduction. Uh, so, as a part of my role at Hinge as the love and connection expert, we've created several different resources that I'm excited about, would love to share. So the first one is an LGBTQIA plus specific resource called Not So Frequently Asked Questions. It's also known as NFAQ. You've
Mhm.
probably seen me talking about it on my social media as I'm a
Mhm.
part of the recent drop
Mhm.
for NFAQ. I've answered all kinds of questions about LGBTQIA plus dating and identity. That's housed within the app and online. So you can go check that out. Go through the link in my bio to get there, or you can go to hinge.nfaq.co. That'll take you to the NFAQ site. There are a number of other experts and LGBTQI plus voices represented answering all kinds of questions. That's a resource that was specifically designed to answer these kinds of questions about LGBTQ plus dating that many of us don't have a blueprint for. So I'm excited to be a part of that. Have been a part of that for ongoing now since it started last about August of 2022. Okay, and then Hinge just released the distraction-free dating guide. You can check that out on hinge.co. That's our website, and you can check out that recent release, or you can look up Hinge distraction-free dating guide. I'm sure you'll be able to find a link through Google that way. Either way you get to it, this guide gives direct date examples that could be great distraction free dates. It gives statistics about what we're learning from Hinge daters around dating and what prevents or prevents connection or supports distraction free dating. I give some advice in there. So I'd say go check that out. That's a good resource. I think I'll leave you out with those two things from Hinge that I'm a part of that are really great dating resources.
That's really helpful. Thank you, the Moe Ari.
Oh my gosh. Thank you, Tiff.
So we have a couple minutes left before we wrap. And I have a truth or truth question for you, Mo. This one is for you specifically, okay?
Okay, I'm ready.
You real special because you get this one by yourself.
Okay.
Okay. We've been on about 4 dates. You invite me to your place for dinner. What are you gonna do to impress me? Walk me through that experience in 60 seconds.
I'm gonna sing you this song right here. Put on your red dress.
Ow!
We like old millennials, but also young millennials at the same time. I'm gonna say you that. And then I'm probably going, so I've invited you to my place. So I'm going to have a lot of candles lit when you get there. I'm going to have some flowers for you. And I'm real romantic. I like all of that. I'm gonna have a playlist playing, little sexy playlist, not sex playlist. Now you don't get to that right away. You just have it be sexy.
Okay.
You know, it's gonna be dimly lit. I'll have cooked my favorite things to make are like our different pastas. You love my chicken piccata.
Yes.
I make the sauce and everything from scratch. So I would probably have that made for you. I'll have some wine ready, your favorite wine. She really loves the sweet Riesling from Pacific Rim. I used to have that ready for her all the time we were dating.
Oh my God.
My mouth is watering right now thinking about all kinds of things I'm gonna eat that night.
Oh my. Okay, get that mouth watery.
Oh my gosh. Stop. Okay. And then I'll have some games. We always used to connect over games. I'll have some games ready for us to play so we can connect in a better way and just have really great conversations. See where the night goes. But really, my intention is to really connect with you more deeply and to really just get to show you how much I care about you by catering to you in this way.
Aww.
I probably would have had a little wine and cheese, charcuterie situation happening too.
That's very sweet. And I'm over here like, when can I come to your place?
Anytime.
Okay.
If you want that, I'll set up that date
chicken piccata. My mouth is watering currently for that chicken piccata.
Might have to make it this weekend.
Yeah.
Bet.
Well, thank you for answering that question. And thank you for sharing your expertise from your many years of being a therapist and your role at Hinge. I think that our listeners can walk away from this episode with some very tangible tools and some resources to dive into and research more. Like, how am I to prepare for dates and how to interact on these dates? So thank you for this conversation.
Thank you so much for indulging me in that question. That was beautiful. This has been a really great episode. Thank you for sharing your expertise and wisdom. as well. Yes. This has been a beautiful episode of the Be Your Own Love Goals podcast with Moe Ari
and Tiffany.
I hope you all have some great dates. Yes. I hope you're getting out there and connecting and living authentically in your relationships.
Absolutely.
All right. Have a great day. Be well.
Bye. If you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. Video episodes are on YouTube and Spotify.
If you want your question included in an upcoming episode, feel free to reach out to us on Instagram at Be Your Own Love Goals or check out our website at lovegoalspodcast.com. We look forward to hearing from you soon.
Bye.